G'day you mob, Pete here, and this is another episode of Aussie English, the number one place for anyone and everyone wanting to learn Australian English. So today I have a Goss episode for you where I sit down with my old man, my father, Ian Smisson, and we talk about the week's news, whether locally down under here in Australia or non-locally overseas in other parts of the world. Okay, and we sometimes also talk about whatever comes to mind, right? If we can think of something interesting to share with you guys related to us or Australia, we also talk about that in the Goss. So these episodes are specifically designed to try and give you content about many different topics where we're obviously speaking in English and there are multiple people having a natural and spontaneous conversation in English. So it is particularly good to improve your listening skills. In order to complement that though, I really recommend that you join the podcast membership or the academy membership at aussieenglish.com.au, where you will get access to the full transcripts of these episodes, the PDFs, the downloads, and you can also use the online PDF reader to read and listen at the same time. Okay, so if you really want to improve your listening skills fast, get the transcript, listen and read at the same time, keep practicing, and that is the quickest way to level up your English. Anyway, I've been rabbiting on a bit. I've been talking a bit. Let's just get into this episode, guys. Smack the bird, and let's get into it. Dad, what's going on?
Hey, Pete, people are getting bitten by sharks.
I know. So this happened yesterday.
In Ocean Grove.
You sent me
Seriously.
a message at probably almost midnight. And you were like, guess what?
Yeah, I just heard it on the late news on TV. I was just sitting up watching some rubbish on TV and they, channel flicking and ran past one of the commercial TV newses. And, it was a breaking news. It was broken about 3 hours before that, but, shark attack. People bitten by a shark on Ocean Grove main beach, where we've been going for 25 years to swim. So,
well, I've surfed there quite a bit when I was younger. So, yeah, it's crazy. So what is the article here? It says a Victorian beach remains closed this morning after a shark attack on Monday night left 2 teens injured. The girl, 15, and a boy, 16, were bitten while swimming at Ocean Grove Beach near Geelong near dusk. It's an interesting sentence.
Yes, a long sentence. With a whole series of phrases tied together.
So here we go. The pair was taken to Geelong Hospital for treatment and were in a stable condition. Locals said the girl was bitten on the lower leg by a reef shark in shallow water. The boy came to her rescue and was also bitten when he tried to fight off the shark. So, that's incredible. I didn't realize, though, that it was a reef shark. I thought it must be a pretty small shark because...
Yeah, I just saw that in the story as well. But, if you'd asked me yesterday, do we get reef sharks down here, I would have said no. But...
Well, I wonder if they're just using that as a catch-all term for just small
shark. Yeah.
Because I don't know where the reefs are here. Like if they're...
No, the reef sharks occur on coral reefs. They're tropical. So,
exactly.
Or
so
subtropical.
Anyway, it seems like it was some kind of a small shark. It doesn't seem like it was a very big one because one, the kids seem to be, at least in the photos that I saw, intact. Though, obviously having been bitten, but they both survived. And you would imagine that a more dangerous shark like a tiger shark, bull shark, or great white shark, the ones that are the man-eaters and killers, would probably leave a little more devastation.
They would have taken a fair chunk.
Yeah, especially out of a small person, right? A teenage
girl in particular. Yeah.
So, how do you feel
interesting?
about that?
Again, you never know who's around you. Where, other than the boy who came to rescue the girl, the first person on there was a trauma nurse who just happened to be swimming with her kids.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So, what is a trauma nurse for those who may not know?
She would work in emergency, so people would come in, typically with accidents.
Yeah.
Sporting injuries, wounds. I've been bitten by a shark. That would have been exactly the thing she would have been dealing with in the hospital.
Yeah.
So, and she was on site to obviously give first aid. But
are we seeing more and more of these attacks, do you think? Around Australia, at least?
I don't know. I'd have to look at statistics. I suspect it isn't changing much. If you counter the numbers with the population of the country. So, when I was a kid, there were, one or two shark attacks, or at least sightings or near attacks, a year. I suspect we haven't got many more than that now, except that that was in Victoria.
Yeah.
Australia was obviously a larger number. I suspect we've got more than that now, but not hugely more. It's just, I suspect it's probably mostly around, there are more people in the water, there are probably fewer sharks than there were when I was a kid. So
wouldn't there be more? Because weren't they hunting them like crazy back then?
Yeah, they were not so much then, but in between time, I think shark populations dived in the sort of 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And they've increased again, but who knows? It's difficult to tell without looking at long-term data on shark numbers and shark attack numbers. But it's not unusual, and it hasn't been unusual for a long time around Australian beaches, but it's certainly unusual at Ocean Grove, where we are. I think in the 25 plus years that we've lived down here, the beach has never been closed, to my knowledge, because of a shark attack. There have been shark sightings, and they close the beach for an hour, and then the shark's gone. And every summer you'll see helicopters and planes patrolling up and down the beach, just checking for sharks. And every now and then there's the siren will go off and warn people to get out of the water, and then an hour later you're allowed back in again because they've gone. But this is the first time, to my knowledge, that we've had an attack down here in that 25-year period.
Well, it's also because it's a sort of shallow, sandy beach, right? So there aren't.
Your average great white is not going to be thumping into 1 meter of water.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
You'd see it coming, but Jesus. Yeah, it is funny though, because this is one of my nightmares, I think, would be being attacked by a shark like that. It's just horrifying, especially when it's like just below the water and you can't even really see it before it comes, right? It's just,
other than in swimming in the tropics where you see reef sharks and hammerheads and things, around here, southern Australia, I've only ever seen a shark in the water once while I've been in the water.
It's funny too. I can handle swimming with sharks when I'm scuba diving or snorkeling, because you're kind of keeping an eye on them. So you're there and you can see them. And I remember when we went to Rain Island, we were snorkeling and there was a tiger shark with us, but a bunch of the guys with us just had wooden sticks to keep it away if it got too close. And I remember sort of being like, yeah, fuck this. Like, I'm getting out, that's a man eater there. Like, that's a 3-meter tiger shark. No, I'm good. I think I'll stay in the boat or on the land. After, I did that once and was just like, yeah, fuck this. This is nuts. But it is interesting that for me, I can handle that sort of thing. Like, I remember reef sharks in particular were never a big deal. Whenever I went to Rain Island or to Queensland to do the turtle tagging stuff, and there's more of those sharks around because of the turtles and everything.
Yes.
It was never an issue, but then to think about surfing in the water where you're not paying attention to what's underneath the water.
Well, that's the only time I've seen it. It was at Pambula Beach on southern New South Wales when I was about 15.
Yeah.
And body surfing, body surfing, you're only concentrating on one thing, and that's just swimming as fast as you can to catch the wave.
Yeah.
And then you're in the wave and bouncing around, and this shark which was cruising along on the front of the wave, just cruised in front of me and went.
Jesus.
I went, keep going into the beach.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw it, then the siren went off and everybody was going in. But it was one of those ones where you go, no. And it's highly unlikely that while you're actually in a wave that it's going to attack you. But
there's some, though. Have you seen that great white shark attack where the guy's on the board and it grabs the board and just rips it off him? And you're just like, good God. Yeah. But there was one recently, I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was the New South Wales coast where there were a few surfers and the video shows them just swimming into the rocks. And then as they get there, they're getting charged by a small great white. Like it comes within a few meters of them and then just turns around and bails. But it had been swimming around and they thought it was a seal because they saw the fin. They thought that the seal was on its side and it brought its flipper up. And then they realized it was a shark and they were like, shit, get in. So they were all swimming frantically. And then you can see it coming up behind them and you're like, good God. So, yeah, it is nuts. But, yeah, hopefully these kids are okay. I assume they are. But it'll be interesting if they're not physically, kind of injured for the rest of their lives. It'll be interesting to know what happens mentally, because it seems like there are people that go both ways when after a shark attack.
Yes.
Sometimes they get straight back in the water and they're like, yeah, I'm taking this on by the, the teeth.
Yeah.
Pun intended. And then there are others that are just like, I'm
never going in the water again.
I'm taking up hiking. Yeah.
I'm not even going to have a bath.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Jesus. So anyway, would you be keen to get back in the water in Ocean Grove anytime soon? Or do you think it's the kind of thing where you're just like, yeah, I'm nah.
I probably only go swimming 3 or 4 times a year nowadays, but I probably won't change what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm no longer in the because I don't surf with a board, so I'm no longer fit enough to be swimming out the back catching the big waves anymore. So I think you'd be pretty stiff to be bitten by a shark in where I'm catching waves. So
yeah, I know that's in ankle deep water. He got me.
Yes, exactly. Scraping the belly along the sand.
All right, far out, Dad. Good episode. Guess we'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.
See ya.
Alrighty, you mob. Thank you so much for listening to or watching this episode of The Goss. If you would like to watch the video, if you're currently listening to it and not watching it, you can do so on the Aussie English channel on YouTube. You'll be able to subscribe to that. Just search Aussie English on YouTube. And if you're watching this and not listening to it, you can check this episode out also on the Aussie English podcast, which you can find via my free Aussie English podcast application on both Android and iPhone. You can download that for free, or you can find it via any other good podcast app that you've got on your phone. Spotify, podcasts from iTunes, Stitcher, whatever it is. I'm your host, Pete. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a ripper of a day, and I will see you next time. Peace!